When most people look out the window and see gray, heavy clouds beginning to gather, their first instinct is often one of disappointment. They think about ruined plans, difficult commutes, or the damp chill that's about to settle in. But for a specific group of people, that first drop of rain hitting the pavement triggers something entirely different. Instead of a sense of gloom, there is a sudden, quiet wave of relief. If you've ever felt a strange sense of peace when the sky turns dark, if the sound of a downpour feels more like a lullaby than a disturbance, you've likely been told you're just a gloomy person, or perhaps a bit of an introvert. But your love for rainy days isn't just a quirk of your personality. It's actually a sophisticated psychological response to the way the world usually demands your attention. Think about what happens to the world when it rains. The colors become muted. The sharp, high-definition glare of the sun is replaced by a soft, diffused light. The frantic pace of the streets slows down. For some, this isn't just a change in weather. It's a change in the sensory contract they have with the world. Psychologically, rain acts as a form of white noise for the soul. The consistent rhythmic patter of raindrops provides a predictable sensory background that masks the unpredictable jarring noises of daily life. The sirens, the shouting, the constant digital pings. For a brain that is easily overstimulated, this pink noise of rain is incredibly regulating. It creates a sensory cocoon, a predictable environment where your nervous system finally feels safe enough to let its guard down. In our daily lives, we are often forced to manage what psychologists call attentional fatigue. We are constantly filtering out distractions and forcing our focus onto tasks. Sunshine, while beautiful, is actually quite demanding. It invites activity. It highlights everything in sharp detail. Rain, however, lowers the visual noise. It simplifies the landscape. When the world is gray and blurry, your brain doesn't have to work as hard to process its surroundings. This reduction in sensory input allows your internal world to take center stage. This is why many people who love rainy days find they are at their most creative or reflective when the weather is at its worst. It isn't that the rain gives you ideas, it's that the rain removes the distractions that usually prevent those ideas from surfacing. It's a psychological reset. And here is where it gets interesting. The love of rain often has very little to do with the water itself, and everything to do with permission. We live in a culture that treats sunshine as a mandate for productivity and social engagement. On a bright sunny day, there's an unspoken pressure to be out there. There is a feeling that you should be meeting friends, you should be active, and you should be making the most of the weather. For many, sunshine carries a heavy weight of expectation. If you stay inside on a beautiful day, you feel a lingering sense of guilt, as if you're failing at some unwritten rule of life. But rain changes the rules. Rain provides a socially acceptable excuse to withdraw. It cancels the social contract of productivity. When it's pouring outside, the world finally agrees with your internal need to be still. No one expects you to be hiking or at a garden party or running errands. The rain acts as a universal permission slip to stay inside, to read, to think, or to simply do nothing at all. For the person who is chronically overwhelmed by the expectations of others, a rainy day feels like a holiday. It's the only time the external world stops asking things of you. The guilt of being unproductive evaporates because, after all, it's a rainy day. You aren't being lazy. You're just responding to the environment. In this way, rain isn't just a weather event. It's a psychological shield. It protects your time and your energy from the demands of a world that usually doesn't know how to stop. This pattern often reveals a deeper identity trait, a high need for autonomy over energy. If you love rain, you likely value the moments where you are in total control of your internal state. You might find that you feel a strange sense of sunshine guilt during the summer months, a persistent anxiety that you aren't being happy or active enough. The rain is the only thing that cures that anxiety. It lowers the stakes of being alive. It's also about the anonymity of rain. In the bright sun, we feel seen. We feel exposed. But in the rain, everyone is under an umbrella or a hood. People move quickly with their heads down. The world becomes a collection of silhouettes rather than individuals. For those who struggle with social visibility or feel a constant pressure to perform a certain persona, the anonymity of a rainy day is deeply comforting. You can move through the world without being perceived. You can just exist. This preference suggests that your identity is deeply tied to introspection. While others look for stimulation from the outside in, you look for it from the inside out. You don't need the sun to light your way. You have a vivid enough internal light to navigate the gray. When you stop seeing your love for rain as a sign of being melancholic or antisocial and start seeing it as a strategy for emotional regulation, it changes how you view yourself. You realize that you aren't avoiding life when you stay inside during a storm. You're actually moving toward a deeper, more authentic version of yourself. One that doesn't need to be on for the benefit of others. You aren't broken because you find beauty in the clouds. You're simply someone who understands the value of the low stimulation environment. You recognize that life doesn't always have to be lived in high definition. Sometimes the most meaningful parts of our lives happen in the soft, blurred edges of a rainy afternoon. The next time you hear the thunder roll or see the first streaks of water on your window, don't feel the need to apologize for your sudden shift in mood. That quiet thrill you feel isn't an error. It's your nervous system recognizing a safe space. It's your brain finding the white noise it needs to finally hear its own thoughts. Once you see it as a pattern of seeking emotional safety and a break from the pressure to produce, you can stop fighting against the gray. You can stop feeling like you need the sun to be happy. It was never about being gloomy. It was a pattern of seeking a space to breathe. And that awareness alone changes how you move through the seasons. You realize that the rain was never there to dampen your day. It was there to hold the world back for a few hours, just so you could finally catch up with yourself. Understanding yourself is the beginning of everything.